Hey there, everybody. It's Pete Chido, sports editor for the Meadville Tribune. Welcome to another episode of Title, please, Matt.
Sideline Confidential.
Sideline Confidential. That's right. It's episode 6, is it, Jordan?
Five, yeah.
It's episode 5. Okay, we've made it through a month. We're at number 5. Oh, by the way, you people that know the sports department probably know that there's a 4th member. It's Lisa Renwick, who's been with this paper for almost as long as I have and stuff. But there's a reason she isn't on the podcast. Is because she doesn't want to be on the podcast. We ask her just about every week if she would like to talk about stuff, and she declines. She's not really into,
talking
to the public and doing any kind of performance TV stuff like that. She just, I don't know, not into it. But we'll keep asking her every week. In fact, we were thinking about making it a recurring segment where we ask Lisa to be on the show, and she says no. But we do it off air instead. So anyway, that's that. Well, where are we? Okay, so. Welcome. Thank you for listening. I'm joined by people who want to do this, I think. Jordan Hansgen, what's up?
Nothing much. This is another great week of high school sports, and look forward to talking about it.
And to my right is assistant sports editor Matt Diagiacomo. I put a little
Francois
on it.
Yeah. French in it. Yeah. It was a good week, and it's going to be a good week this week.
Yeah,
So,
it's fall, man.
And we get to championships. I know it's a little tease for future, but, we get our first, championship title, district title.
That's right.
On the line with the golf coming up.
Okay. That's true. We'll get to that in a little bit. First, let's talk about what transpired over the weekend since we talked last. Jordan, I noticed you're not as spry as you are usually. Sunday didn't. You can't. We're talking about the Bills. Of course, they lost to the Patriots, but it was a good game.
It's so frustrating playing the Patriots and being in the same division as the New England Patriots because our defense can play lights out throughout the game, and yet naturally our quarterback plays probably his worst game as an NFL player.
Yeah.
Everything can't fall into place when you play the Patriots. You have to play flawlessly or you will not win. You can't. They will not give you the game. There's no way around it because they have the best coach combined with arguably the best quarterback of all time. I know people will debate it. Matt, I know, disagrees with me heavily, but so when the Hall of Fame quarterback doesn't play the way that he's supposed to, naturally the Hall of Fame coach does everything in his power to confuse everything about our quarterback and then knocks him out of the game right when he's starting to get things going. So, not a very fun game, pretty humbling game, I think, for the Bills. But I do think that what we know for now is that the Bills' defense might be the best in the league, might be right up there with New England's, with the Bears, with all the top defenses. I think that there's really no doubt considering what they did to that Patriots offense, which got, I think, 12 yards total in the second half.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. 16-10, I mean, that's not a terrible result.
No, and the Bills had a 4th and goal from the 2 to take the lead with our backup quarterback in, and they just missed the pass. So.
I mean,
they had the ball at the end there, and had he not gotten hit right as he threw that ball and it went straight up in the air and the Patriots intercepted, they still would have had another chance. So.
I think the Bills are I think going into the season, I thought the Bills were a fringe playoff team. After that game, I stand that they are. They should be a playoff team. I don't think that they don't have any excuses anymore.
I'll agree with you, but with a caveat. Depends on how long Allen's out, because I don't think Barkley's going to lead that team in the playoffs.
We play the Titans this week, which I guess we could win with the backup, but it's not going to be easy. And then we get our bye. Very fortunate bye week that Allen will get. He probably won't play this week, but he'll get another week to recoup. Right. And then they have the Dolphins, who we might also beat with the backup.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of teams that look like playoff teams, I mean,
I had a good time on Sunday. It was fun. Yeah, that was a heck of a performance, man.
Huge game too.
Yeah,
I mean, divisional opponent. If there's a game to win, that's the one to win.
Yeah.
The defense looked pretty good. I mean, but the offense, Baker Mayfield looked like last year's Baker Mayfield. He was making passes. He's throwing quick strikes. He was staying in the pocket for a second. And then Nick Chubb just ran all over the place. It was fun to watch. It was fun to watch him score a bunch of points. It was good football. I'd like to see that continue.
That was I give credit to the offensive coordinator and Kitchens, because part of the problem with the Browns in their first 3 games was the offensive line wasn't performing very well.
Right.
The best way to get an offensive line does better when it's going forward than backing up. And when you're in pass protection, you back up. When you're running the ball, you smash forward. And I think that made a huge difference. And then it opened up holes for Chubb, and that made the linebackers be a little more honest and allowed Mayfield to get more comfortable in the pocket.
I mean, that division, with that win, that division's wide open. I think Cleveland is now the leader in the division because they beat Baltimore. I'm still not giving up on Pittsburgh. For some reason, I know they played the Bengals, who are a dumpster fire if there ever was anything. That team literally quit at the end of that game last night. But, Mason Rudolph looks a lot more confident, a lot more composed after the road game.
Mm-hmm.
He came to Heinz Field and he played pretty well considering that he's the second start.
Right.
And I thought they had a great game plan. I loved the Wildcat James Conner Jalen Samuels thing that they brought in. The Bengals had no answer for it. That you can do that though against the Bengals. You won't be able to do that against a good team. But I think Pittsburgh's right there. I think Cleveland, though, they're if they put it all together, they are the most talented team of the 3.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, they don't even have one of their best players who's still out because of the
Who are you talking about?
the running back that they got from Kansas City.
Oh, yeah.
Well, they don't need him though because
They
they
don't,
have Chubb.
But he adds a little. They'll probably use him more in the passing game, and that's the thing with the Steelers that I'm still leery of. Yes, they can do that against the Bengals, but until those receivers start getting open and allow their quarterback to make some passes, they're going to be in trouble. I don't care if it's Rudolph in there or if it's Roethlisberger. The receivers have not been able to get away from their defenders.
Yeah.
None of them.
And
that's what Schuster, 3 catches for 15 yards. He's their number 1 guy.
Yeah.
He's got to get open.
James Conner was the passing game guy. They were just feeding him and letting him make stuff happen after the play, and it was really good to see for him.
No, I will not talk about my Dolphins. Although I will say this.
They are improving. They only lost by 20.
They only lost by 20 this week. That's right.
Day before that was college football. Let's see, right? College football. Well, no, because Penn State played on Friday. Yeah, they destroyed
Maryland
59-0.
Who had their brief stint in the AP Top 25 a couple weeks ago. They had their brief moment in the sun.
Yeah, that sounded like a pretty bad scene for them.
It's the packed house in Maryland.
And through the first half.
Destroyed them.
It's not a great day running the ball for the Lions, but Journey I think ran for 24 and a touchdown, and he also had 40 yards receiving and another touchdown through the air. So
that was a nice catch and run for him for a touchdown.
Boy, I tell you, I thought when he caught that ball and you saw those defenders there, it was and then boom, he was gone.
He
they had no chance.
That was great to see. The Panthers survive against Delaware, 17-14. They're what are they now? 3-2.
3-2 with a big win against UCF. So
yeah,
I think they would probably take
Delaware's
that.
A decent team. Delaware's not bad. They had Delaware came in with a great game plan, and Pitt did not go in that game.
And I remember seeing in the story, the CNHI story, that there were a lot of WPIAL players on Delaware. So it's a lot of guys that got maybe bypassed by Pitt, so they get a little extra added effort into that game.
Yeah.
And I think that they probably showed that through at least the first half that,
it was interesting.
kids like that, they get a lot of fire when that's why you see some of these MAC teams, they compete with some of the Big Ten teams. Because a lot of times those are the kids that get rejected by the Big Ten schools, so they end up going to the MAC school. And I think that that's why you see a little added effort in that in the first half there.
It was funny, the previous story for that, Coach Narduzzi was talking about when he was younger and his dad coached at Youngstown State. And they were undefeated going into the national championship game and lost to Delaware.
Yeah.
Or something like, or go or
Yeah,
in
no,
the playoffs,
that was the
lost
other
to
part,
Delaware.
yeah.
That's the reason why he says that was the only game is he lost that year or whatever. And so he kind of had a little chip on his shoulder. He wanted to beat him for his dad. And
Lot of bad blood there,
maybe he went
surprisingly.
in a little, trying to get too fancy or technical or whatever to make sure he didn't have to let down, and almost happened.
In area college sports, California PA beat Edinburgh 24-7. That was actually a close game at one point. It was 10-7 in the third quarter after Tanaz Gregory scored on a touchdown reception from Jordan Castelli. But Cal just took over. Edinburgh's starting quarterback, Tomko, ended up going out with an injury. And then Castelli took over, and then they weren't able to keep up with Cal any longer. They scored. The Vulcans scored a couple more touchdowns, pulled away. Allegheny, they couldn't get over on top of Ohio Wesleyan, which remained undefeated at 4-0. That was a 28-10 final. That was also fairly close at half. Ohio Wesleyan was up 14-3. Allegheny came out, scored a touchdown in the second half to make it 14-10. But then that was all the scoring for Allegheny. Pulled away. Slippery Rock, boy, do they look good this year. They won. They won. What was the score? 55-14 over Seton Hill.
Right.
They're ranked 10th in the nation right now in Division II. Cass grad Henry Litwin continues to bring in a lot of passes, a lot of passing yards. I believe he's first in the nation in receiving touchdowns with 7. I believe he's fifth in the nation in receiving yards per game, like 115.2. He's really doing well, and it starts with that quarterback, that Roland Rivers the third. He's really he's completing like a ridiculous percentage. We had that in today's paper or something like that.
I think so, maybe.
Yeah, 75.5% completion percentage through 4 games. That's kind of incredible. So that there's Slippery Rock doing really well. Anything else in college football that stuck out to you guys?
No, nothing really.
I think we hit all.
Other than Clemson sneaking by North Carolina.
Yeah, well, North Carolina's sneaky good. I mean, you get a coach like Mac Brown, and a team gets a little added boost every single game, and I think he's going to be really good for the North Carolina program. And I still love the call when you're the underdog at home.
Go for it.
Go for it. You go for the win there. What's more likely, beating Clemson toe to toe in overtime, or getting 2 yards?
Right.
I think I don't doubt that. I don't doubt the call. I mean, that was really the main game that turned out to be the main game of the college football slate. There wasn't much to it besides mostly chalk the rest of the way. Good for them. My alma mater is ranked in the top 25 for the first time since 2006, so that's exciting.
Let the people know who your alma mater is.
Yeah, Wake Forest.
What year did you
North
graduate?
Carolina. What's it? 2017.
2017. So your team was they were never in the top 25 while you were there. That's why I was wondering.
No, yeah, the football team. No, yeah, actually, no. We're really good at soccer and golf. That's our.
Do they have a top 25 in soccer and golf?
Yes.
Oh, sure.
Their most famous alumni was a golfer.
That's right.
Arnold Palmer.
Arnold Palmer. Never heard of him. Anyway, let's go to football, high school football. Last week, geez, that was a big week. I'm surprised we got as much as we did. I was at the Meadville game against Franklin. Ian Haynes, the Franklin quarterback, came in with some amazing stats on the season. He was leading the District 10 in passing touchdowns, passing yards, attempts, completions. He had another productive game, but he also got picked off 6 times by the Meadville defense. They stopped 6 drives with picks and went on to win pretty soundly, 56-13 over the Knights. The Bulldogs put themselves in a position to play for the region title one season after going 0-9. You don't see turnarounds like this very often, and it's really been something to behold this year. So good for them. Jordan, where'd you go Friday?
I went out to Guys Mills, saw the Maplewood Tigers keep on rolling. I was very impressed with Union City. The way they fought, they had, they obviously didn't have very high numbers going into the season, so their guys are battling, they're playing all the time, and they're battling one of the top teams in the district, and they scored at going into the first half and the last second on a pass, which is rare for Union City.
Yeah.
Marshall Van Tassel got a pass from Austin Jaquith in the corner, and Maplewood had to earn it. They had to earn everything, and they came out in the second half and they played like the championship contenders that they are. Caleb Donor started running all over the field. J.D. McFadden was hitting his throws, and Maplewood came out with a pretty strong win over the team that beat them for the region last year. Now it's looking like it's going to be Maplewood and Eisenhower to battle for the region title, but it looks like it's Maplewood's to lose.
Yeah. Matt, you were at kind of a sadly pivotal game.
Yeah.
That by the way, that Union City Maplewood Union City final was 34-8 Maplewood. But back to Matt, you were over in Linesville watching Cash take on Sharon. That started out pretty good for the Eagles, didn't it?
Yeah, they were up. They drove down the field. The first two possessions led 16-6, and then Sharon got the ball, and on the second play of their second drive, just looked like a little meaningless 11-yard run down the sideline, and someone gets hurt, and it ended up being Tanner Neiman, who's their all-class quarterback.
The engine of the offense. Yeah.
Needless to say, from that point on, Sharon scored 31 straight points.
Yeah.
And ended up winning that game.
43-24?
37-24.
37-24.
Or 33-20. Was it 33?
43-24.
Or 43-24. That's right. Yeah, that's right. They scored again. And it was, it's hard for a team to really get that adrenaline going again when you've had that downer of seeing one of your teammates and maybe arguably the best player on your team get hurt and leave. And then I saw on Twitter today, Neiman posted that he was done for the year.
Yeah.
Which means they're going to have a really uphill climb now to try and win that division win. A win in that game there would have really given them a leg up on winning that division.
I would. He was such a good player. He was so good at reading, the defense and figuring out the right play, running the ball. And he was such a good passer. He created so much for that offense. It's going to be hard to replace him. That being said, Conneaut they still have some tough kids in the lineup. They still have a lot of good athletes on offense, and they have the coaching staff and the offense, to find what suits them better and to still be a dangerous unit.
Mm-hmm.
They got a game against Slippery Rock coming up this Friday. I think it's going to be real interesting to see what they could put together and how they could move on without him. But I think the bigger question, the longer term question for Cash and for Tanner Neiman is how is this going to affect him in basketball? Because as good as he is in football, he might be even a better basketball player. Great left-handed shot, a good ball handler. It's going to be that's going to be a big question. Hopefully he get back. I haven't seen any news about how long he's going to be out, but that's a shame.
Yeah,
he's such a good athlete.
He just said for the year. I did want to point out one other thing. The Sharon coach, Coach McElhaney, he brought it up after the game about how good Tanner Neiman was and how bad he felt that he got hurt. And then on Neiman's Twitter feed, he posted a message giving him words of encouragement and hoped he had a speedy recovery. And it's like it just shows the kind of class that guy has.
Yeah.
We need more coaches like that, and I hope he sticks around down there a long time.
Yeah.
I think he's got that team going in a good way, and I think they're taking his kind of his outlook into that. Going in there and playing hard, playing tough, but also playing fair and with class.
Respecting the game.
Yes.
Yeah. Jason McElhaney's a good guy. He used to coach, West Middlesex?
Yep, with Ray Horn. Or not, with
Ray Collins?
Ray Collins, Neiman's stepdad. So he said he knew him when he was running around as a little boy, so
I'm
all over the place, dude.
There was another big game Friday night. Cockerton, Sagertown, two winless teams going into the game. Cockerton came out on top 46-24. They managed to get their first win of the season. And it has Coach Murray, looking ahead to making the playoffs, winning a few more games down the stretch, and they could do it. I can't remember who all they have left. They have, they could do it, too. They have, I don't know, they got Farrell on Friday.
Yeah.
That's going to be a tough one. They have Cambridge Springs on the 11th. They have
possible.
Eisenhower on the 18th.
Yeah.
I think that might be it for their regular season.
Mm-hmm.
But they can win. I think he said if they win 2 of the next 3, that he'll get them into the playoffs. So they that was a kind of a big reveal, was Wyatt Barzak came back to get under center for the Cockerton offense, and he had a huge night, over 300 yards passing for the sophomore. 335, completed 24 of 40. So that really put a lot of bang back into the Cockerton's offense last night, and it showed up on the scoreboard. Unfortunately for the Panthers, they got to try again this week to get off the schneid. So this long skid that they've been on. Heartbreaker. Go ahead.
Well, I'll be interested to see if the Panthers start Tariq this week.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah,
he came in last week or 2 Fridays ago. And played really well. Completed, 6 or 7 passes for 116 yards and a touchdown. And I thought, maybe he's the spark. Maybe that's something they need. And then he didn't start against Cockerton. When he came in, he completed 5 of 8 for 138 yards and a touchdown. And he ran for 69 yards and a touchdown. Yeah, he had 2 interceptions. So, there's obviously some work to do there. But, I don't know, they seem to move the ball when he's in there. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe, so I'll be interested to see if he starts this week or if they go back to the freshman. The freshman's good. I'm not Schaefer.
Right.
He's a good kid. He's a good quarterback. But, in a season like this, you might as well try something. If you're looking for a win, you might as well try.
We don't see what goes on in practice.
That's
you
true
know what
too.
I mean?
That's
So
true.
we don't really know what their coach is judging, who he plays
Right.
and who he doesn't on.
Well, and they had other problems. They turned the ball over 4 times, had 10 penalties. You can't do.
Yeah, right.
If you're trying to get out of a losing streak, you can't make those kind of mistakes.
Yeah, right.
No matter who's a quarterback, running back, wide receiver, or defensive end.
Speaking of tough losses, field goal Cambridge Springs was taking on Eisenhower at home on Friday night. I didn't know why didn't that make the anyway. Jake Venman from Eisenhower hit a 25-yard field goal with less than a minute to play. Eisenhower beats Cambridge Springs 29-27. That's a tough one. They put up a fight, but it's heartbreaker, man. Football.
Yeah, isn't that the second year in a row that Venman's hit a late field goal to beat somebody?
Probably.
Was it Cockerton last year, maybe, or something like that? It was something.
You might be right. Yeah, I can't recall exactly. Yeah.
He has a habit of doing that.
Yeah, it's also a rough blow that they started out with a 20-0 lead in the first, and then they let the Knights claw back into it. But
That's tough.
that happens. It's football. It's the game.
So coming up this Friday, let's see, we got Connie at Slippery Rock. That's going to be interesting to see how that goes. That's a region game for Connie. We'll see how they could recover. It's next man up football. It's tragic when something like that happens to somebody that's such a cornerstone of your unit, but this is part of the game. You have to find the next man up and try to find newer ways to score and move the football, and that's what they're going to try to do Friday night. Another big game I think we already mentioned was Meadville at Oil City. That's going to be for the Region 7 title. Have you looked at much at Oil City doing like the preview stuff yet, Jordan?
Their stats still line up the way they were when they had Christian Cole.
Yeah.
But now they have 3 guys that do it rather than just feed the workhorse the whole time. So they're gonna be a tough team to stop because they still have that line rolling. They still have that run game going. They're still very, very good.
So it sounds like it's going to be physical up front, a lot of ground and pound. This is going to...
it might be a quick game, though, because both teams know he's going to throw a ball.
But you know what?
Battle of wills.
Meadville showed the ability to pass this past week.
2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, 2 weeks in a row.
Meadville's pass is dangerous, too, because it comes when you least expect it. Like, they like doing it on, 1st and 10 or, 2nd and 2. They like to surprise you with it.
Right.
And normally it beats you deep.
Mm-hmm.
But it's gonna, but it does sound like a typical, well, maybe atypical Dan York offense because he usually is the feed the monster constantly throughout a game. It went during his days in Lakeview and during his early days in Oil City. He would find a feature back and just ride him all game long, which they did with Christian Cole. And using multiple backs, well, why not if it works?
Yeah, I see that Noah Petro and, at least going into last week, Noah Petro and Cameron Russell both were in the top 10 for rushing.
Wow.
So they have two guys that can do it, which makes them possibly even more dangerous than.
Yeah.
Christian Cole is an amazing player.
Well,
but you knew where it was coming from, at least. With
Right.
Christian. You couldn't stop it, but you knew where it was coming from.
Here's the thing I like, as far as if you're a Meadville fan out there. Meadville is way more physical this year than they were last year. You can just see it in the way that they played Franklin. They didn't beat Franklin because the interceptions, obviously.
Yeah.
They out-physicaled them.
Yeah.
Were in the backfield. Haynes threw the ball 60 times and completed, 20-something?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
Because the pressure is what led to those interceptions.
They couldn't run on him at all.
And Oil City's not going to pass the ball, so now you're going to have that huge front line and your linebackers on that line of scrimmage shutting everything down. That's going to be huge.
It's going to be an interesting game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think Meadville's coaching staff's got to be pretty confident that if they put 7 guys in the box, their secondary can handle the rest back there.
They got a lot of
they
practice.
can do it against Franklin.
Yeah.
A lot of practice last week.
Yeah.
Another big game. It's a non-region game. Maplewood at Franklin. Maplewood gets their turn trying to shut down the pass of Ian Haynes and his receiving crew. It is a tricky offense. They got a couple guys, Cade Adams and Dalton Buckley, who are really good receivers, and Ian Haynes is very good at finding them. Typically, Meadville they're going to have to Maplewood's going to have to view the Meadville game tape pretty closely to see the way that the Bulldogs, kind of handled their business that week. And
it's a good test for them, too, because I don't think they've faced a very strong passing offense.
No, probably
well,
not.
here's this will be interesting because I think Maplewood is a little better at guarding the pass man for man. I think they
it's more in the vocabulary.
Yeah, they kind of, that is something that they really they do a lot of focusing on.
I wonder if they're just gonna have JD run, scout O,
and they're not
have him
throw the
ball around.
They're very physical, but they're not physical. They're not as physical as Meadville. So how's that going to play a part? Is Haynes going to have more time to really look his receivers and get that game going? Is Maplewood going to be able to put the pressure on like Meadville did to take him out of his game? That one there will be a pretty good game.
I mean, you mentioned physical. Maplewood is a very physical team. They do got a lot of big boys up front, and they do manhandle lines to get what they want. So it's kind of similar, actually, except for completely different.
And
offenses.
they have a lot of offensive weapons that Franklin will have a tough time dealing with.
Yeah.
Really, the ball can go really anywhere.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. Also Friday, Mercer at Sagertown. Mercer's 2-4 going in that one. They're coming off a 73 whooping from Farrell last week. Lakeview's at Northwestern. Lakeview wasn't able to follow up on their win a couple weeks ago. They lost to Sharpsville 27-9. Northwestern's coming in with a record of 4-2. So Wildcats aren't playing too bad this year. We'll see how Lakeview can do. You never know when it comes to Mercer County versus Erie County how those things are going to pan out. Mercer's Prep at Union City. That's kind of an interesting game. Mercer's Prep is kind of down this year, but they still have some pretty good guys. They're 3-3 coming into the game. Union City is going to be 3-3 as well. They're in different classifications. Mercerhurst Prep's a little bigger. They're a private school, but Union City's pretty tough, and so we'll see what happens there. Cambridge Springs at West Middlesex. West Middlesex is 3-3. Cambridge Springs is 2-4. West Middlesex is still pretty tough, even though they're not having the best year. Cochran's at Farrell. Cochran's at Farrell. Farrell's Farrell. That's going to be a tough one for the Cardinals, but that's what it's all about. Let's see, any high school sports, other high school sports. It was a big week for cross country in Crawford County. Saturday was the Cardinal Classic Cross Country Invitational. That was a pretty wild one. Mira Shannon kind of dominated the girls. She won by, what was it, like 30 seconds or something like that. She was well out in the lead. The Lakeview girls looked outstanding. They won the team title. The boys was kind of a surprise. It wasn't so much a surprise of Cochran winning. That was, I think, their third straight repeat at their own tournament. They have a really good group this year, despite the fact that they graduated so many guys last year. But the surprise was the freshman Sam Hetrick from Sagertown coming in and beating and winning the race in front of Cochran's number one runner, Noah Bernarding, by about 7 seconds or so. It was he had a nice performance. He was trailing Noah Bernarding for about the first mile, and then he said when they hit the hill, the big Cochran hill, that he was able to pick up on gain on Noah Bernarding and eventually pass him at the top of the hill, and then put a little distance between them, which is surprising, because that's Bernarding's home course. You'd think he'd be used to the hill, but it just happens. Different races, different days, which takes us to where I was just at tonight. It's Tuesday, by the way, if you're listening. We're recording this on Tuesday. I was at the big tri-meet between Cambridge Springs, Cochranton, and Sagertown. So so it was Hetrick versus Bernarding for the win again. This time Bernarding wins, I think, by about 30 seconds. It kind of panned out the same way. Bernarding was out in front. Hetrick was a few strides behind him. That was the first mile. Noah kept his lead. Through the second mile, Noah still kept his lead. They disappear into the woods before they hit the final stretch at Sagertown High School, and they come back out. Noah's got an even bigger lead. So this time it was a different day for him. He held off Hetrick by about half a minute or so. It was a nice race for him. Cochran also wins both sides of the team. The Cochran boys wins both sides of the team event, so they moved to 6-0 in the season. They're looking to repeat as region champions, despite, like I said, all the graduations they had last season, which is a surprise. And they did it today over Cambridge Springs, who came into the season with a bunch of really great runners. But they're out one major one in Elijah Mamula, who was sick this past week. Wasn't able to run Saturday, wasn't able to run today. I think that really hurt Cochran. It's going to be interesting if he can get healthy and everybody can stay healthy and they have full teams going into the region invite and the District 10 championships at the end of the year to see how that rivalry shakes out, because I think Cambridge Springs is going to be a different beast with another top 5 runner, and the numbers are going to go haywire. It's going to be fun to see how this pans out in a few weeks' time at the end of October. So that's cross country. Let's see, volleyball. What do we have tonight? Maplewood beat Corey in a non-region match last night in 4 games. That's pretty big to beat Corey. Oh yeah, I said last night, didn't I?
Yeah, but we're recording after everything on Tuesday.
Monday night, right. All right, so Monday night they beat him in 4 games, which is big because you beat them once and everybody's like, they might have got lucky. Well, they didn't get lucky because they did it again in Corey, which is never an easy place to get a win. Meadville lost a tough one on Monday night to McDowell in 5 games, but it might have been a corner turner for the Meadville team. They seem to be really into that game. They seem to show a lot of emotion after losing, and that's kind of something you want to see after a tough loss, is you want to see a team that wanted to win, that takes it hard, that maybe internalizes these things and starts to put it towards playing better as the season goes on. It's the start of October. Maybe this is because they came back out Tuesday night, Meadville did, and swept Franklin pretty easily, and didn't play down to Franklin's level, and maybe this is where they finally turned it on. The Lady Bulldogs, a big one tonight in Sagertown beat Cambridge Springs, big Pencrest rivalry in 5 games.
Yeah,
that sounds like it was a wild one. That story is going to be in Wednesday's paper for all of you that want to read about it. We had anything on Thursday? Slippery Rocks at Conneaut on Thursday. That should be a winner. Cochran at Maplewood, they're not in the same league anymore, but they're kind of rivals over on that side of the county. And then I believe Meadville's at Grove City, so that's going to be a big one for the Lady Bulldogs on Thursday. We also got golf, the golf championships. Go ahead. What's going on with golf championships?
Well, we have the girls start Thursday. They have the team championship and then the first round of the individual championships. Then on Friday is the team championship for the boys and the first round of the individual championship for the boys. And then on Saturday, the individuals that make the cut come back and play the second round for the championships. It'll be interesting to see. I think Prep is the team to beat in AAA.
Sure.
in my completely uninformed opinion, because I didn't really look into this, I think Grove City might be the team to beat in AA. They've looked pretty good. They've won some key matches against the other contenders.
I think they won the I don't want to.
Marquette.
I know they've won a few tournaments.
Yeah, they won Tama Shanner, and they won another tournament with a bunch
and
of this
they
team.
have I think they have 3 or 4 kids that
really, really
that
good.
are in the 70s.
Yeah.
Pretty consistently.
Mm-hmm.
So that's tough for Lakeview and Sagertown to keep up with that. I think they do. They're normally in the 80s, so I think they do have the ability to get there. It's just they have to play flawlessly.
Everything's gonna have to come together.
Yeah, to keep up with a team like Grove City.
Individually, I like Ryan Ferry's chances, but there's a handful of guys in AAA.
Yeah.
That if they're hanging around, he makes a mistake, you could see that championship go by him.
Yeah.
And then in AA, I have no clue. There are so many good golfers in AA this year. Any one of them come up, and they've all gone low at different times. And anyone, I wouldn't be surprised if somebody shot in the 60s,
right,
on one of those 2 days.
No kidding.
This year.
I know locally, it's really Dylan Flinchbot's had a great year.
Yeah.
Brett Beef at Lakeview. It's always a great player.
Yeah.
But really, I mean, there are definitely, like Matt said, a lot of players that could all score, and it really is just going to come down to who has the best day. I think it's supposed to be an interesting weather
Is that right?
weekend. I think Friday's supposed to be cold.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Saturday, it was
something
iffy,
we haven't had to
iffy
deal with
weather.
at all this fall.
Right. So, I mean, cold just makes a lot of things more interesting in golf. Seems like, get a little tenser, get a little tighter on the club. Yeah, it should be very interesting. I mean, that's what golf is, playing in the elements sometimes. So.
Yeah. In the girls' race, I mean, I know Meadville's given McDowell a good run this year. I just
They've
don't
been
think
close a couple times.
Yeah, I don't know if they've closed the gap enough. It is on their home course.
Yeah.
I mean, it is at the country club. If they're going to do it, this would be the time to do it. I just don't know if the gap's been close enough for them to pull it out. And win the title for individually.
Natalie Brosig, however you pronounce it. I don't know.
Yeah, and then in AA, I think Villa Maria again has another solid team.
What about Hickory?
And
I think Hickory's got it.
Hickory too.
Yeah.
That'll be a good one. I think
Kira Woods, Leah Benson. I think
that'll be an interesting one to see who pulls out. And
Yeah,
I like Lydia
is
Swan.
Northeast good?
To repeat.
Yeah, Lydia Swan. She's she's such a
sophomore.
Yeah, and a very small girl, a very diminutive presence, but she gets smacked ball.
Rumor has it she has a younger sister who I think will be a freshman next year or the following year, who's already even better than she is.
Oh man, that's gonna be interesting.
Rumor has it.
They
don't want to put any pressure on the young lady before she even gets to the varsity level. Yeah.
But yeah, it should be a great tournament this weekend.
Yeah.
Hockey started this week. Meadville hockey, that is.
Yeah. Yeah, they played Quaker Valley and lost 4-1.
Yeah.
Against a team that Jamie said he don't think they've ever played before.
Well, apparently they outshot them with 44
Yeah,
23 or something crazy, and then
42 to it was 43 to whatever. Yeah, the goalie for Quaker Valley made 42 saves, which
it's crazy.
When the goalie for the other team stands on his head, it's hard to beat him.
And it wasn't like it was soft shots either. Jamie was like, we had half a dozen point blank shots that he just stopped on us. So, I guess that happens sometimes in hockey.
What a sport! Right? I mean, it's such a funny sport.
Well, we'll see how they handle that loss Wednesday night as they take on Harbor Creek in the Pink the Rink game.
The Huskies of Harbor Creek.
It's a non-conference game, so it doesn't really mean a whole lot as far as PHL playoffs go, but it is a game that in their last preseason game they faced each other and Harbor Creek tied them.
3-3, was it?
Yeah. In that game, in that preseason game, Harbor Creek was having fun on the bench, joking around, and all that kind of stuff. And Meadville really seemed to be taking it seriously, like it was a job.
Really?
Yeah, and I don't know that if a Meadville team coming out and having fun and playing loose ties that game. I think they might win that game pretty easy. Harbor Creek's a good team. but they don't play the competition Meadville does. They don't have that seasoning and that just that experience. So it'd be interesting to see how they take it on Wednesday. See how they come out and play that game, especially after losing to Quaker Valley.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be a long season with these guys. And it's going to be interesting to see where they get the scoring from. As we said before, Nick France is gone. He was such a key figure of that offense for so many years. All-time scoring leader. But Cole Weber, he wasn't too shabby last year. What, he had 91 points on the season?
Shout out to Ryan Sheppelman. He scored that goal.
Yeah, he scored the one. He beat this unbeatable goalie.
An assist from Cody Lewis. So,
So it's going to be interesting watching them all season long, and I do mean all season long.
I know Jamie's probably hoping that that's a sign that Sheppelman's going to be one of those guys who steps up and fills in some of that void.
Yeah, because they're going to need several guys to take up the slack.
And then Wednesday also starts the NHL season. Big game between Penguins and Buffalo started off, Jordan.
Oh, no. I am never a fan of... I am so... just not excited about the Sabres.
And actually, I should specify that game. NHL starts Wednesday, but that game, the Penguins game, is until Thursday.
Yeah,
but it should be interesting. I think it'll be an interesting game because we should be able to find out pretty quickly what kind of Penguins team we're going to have. Is it a team ready to jump back into the playoff fray, or are they removed?
The Penguins are interesting because they're getting their stars are getting up there. They're starting to get on the back end of their careers, which is pretty crazy to think, considering they've been there for so long and they've been so steady for so long.
He's no longer Sid the Kid.
He's no longer Sid the Kid. He's Sid the savvy vet now, and it's. I mean, we'll see if they restock, retool, and Sabres just win some games.
Well, and that's the thing I was going to say with the Sabres. They're
young.
On the other end of the Penguins. They're young. But are they finally going to start living up to some of these expectations that?
I don't think they have any. I don't think. I mean,
they might not have any expectations.
I don't think
right now the owner has some expectations.
I mean, they made the playoffs once in his tenure, which is pretty crazy.
Right.
And it was the first 2 months of it, and then they haven't made the playoffs since.
Once.
Yeah, since he got the team, I think in 2011.
Yeah,
he bought the team, and
you kind of got to work kind of hard to miss the playoffs in the NHL.
In hockey, it's historically terrible how bad the franchise has been, partially by their own doing. But yeah, I mean, hockey's a fun sport when your team's good. When your team's bad, it's a long slog to the finish.
Yeah.
So hopefully, I just want them to be competitive. Really, I want them to be able to, be in that wild card race where they can, play some meaningful games for the first time in a long time. That's really my expectation for them. Pittsburgh, I expect them to be in the playoffs.
Yeah, but it was funny you mentioned about the when your team's bad and how long slog it is in hockey. It's the same thing in basketball. The NBA,
yes,
just because their preseason starts Thursday as well. Their preseason.
Football's not as bad because
hard.
You can just turn it off for like 6 days throughout the week.
It's hard to miss the playoffs that many times in hockey. Same in basketball. The Clippers made a history of doing it. So did the Kings. So maybe they've been watching too much of them.
Yeah,
they're in Buffalo. Funny is we're talking about sports starting, another sports ending. Baseball's in their playoffs.
Oh yeah, wild card game was tonight.
Yeah.
The Nationals came from behind to beat the Brewers.
They were down 3-1, and then scored 3 runs in the bottom of the 8th inning to win 4-3.
Well, Bryce Harper watched on his couch.
That's right. That's why I have it here in my list of things. I have Anthony Rendon winning the MVP because he did something Bryce Harper couldn't do. Got his team to the playoffs and won a game now.
Take that, Bryce Harper. Catching shade from the Sideline Confidential podcast.
Poor Bryce Harper and his $250 million contract. I think he's okay. I think he'll make it. I think he'll make it.
All right, so that should do it for the week, you guys. We appreciate you listening. If you have any comments, questions, corrections, complaints, compliments, God forbid, you could contact us at sports@meadvilletribune.com via email or via Twitter @Tribune_sports. Yes.
right.
Correct.
We
And they can also send us a message through Facebook at the Meadville Tribune Facebook page.
Okay, now we on that? Did you ask? Oh, we'll talk about this off. Okay, well, thanks for listening, you guys. We'll talk to you next week. For Matt and for Jordan, this is Pete saying bye.